We're in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha once more, where the blue Protoss is currently spawning. One of the legends of StarCraft 2 and a personal favorite. It is Stats.
Alright, as you can see, it's from a replay. We got some observers talking and chatting. Anyhow, here in the top right corner of the map is the red Terran player, currently teamless. Give it up for BYUN.
Oh, and that's already a cheeky play. These are proxy Rex in a very curious location. It's gonna be very close though to the main base of Stats, and he's not gonna see that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so close there. A little bit unfortunate for our blue Protoss.
Oh, definitely unfortunate. He's gonna find out what is going on soon enough once this probe just doesn't find a Rex here in the wall of BYUN. And it's gonna be Reaper first. With 2 gases, nothing else to be expected. Here comes the Orbiter command. Just if Stats wasn't sure enough this was happening, now he is. And let's see how he reacts to it. It's gonna be Zealot being made. And of course, Savanelli scored before Nexus. But it's still gonna be up to Micro.
Yeah, the good thing is that he went for the cybernetic core first before the Nexus, so that's gonna allow him to make those Stalkers and Zealot or the warp rate a little bit quicker. But BYUN looks like he is gonna go ahead and just follow up with a factory behind this in his main base. Reaper does make his way into the main base. Let's see how many probes he can get.
He's not gonna get any for now, just a little bit of a mining time disrupted. And I have to admit, I do like the decision of BYUN to just transition, do not go too heavily into this. Gonna send his Reaper back home as well and just leave the Rex. Doesn't need the Rex to be producing units as of now with what he's doing. But of course, the starport is very much needed. And now there is 1 probe scouting, which is gonna get killed, and the Twilight Council is gonna be dropped down by his stats. Sorry, I was saying stats. And it's gonna be just a straight blink play, very standard for Stats. Let's see how BYUN decides to start getting some map control and some aggression.
Yeah, it looks like he is gonna go ahead and try to poke in here in the front door. 2 Stalkers are gonna go ahead and greet them here, which will force them back. But I'm actually surprised that Stats has not yet thrown down the shield battery. I think opening up with a 1 base from like that with BYUN going for a 1 base opening like that. Obviously he does scout the 2nd command center, but he should expect some type of harassment or pressure soon, just because with going for a slower CC like that, it's got to kind of signal to the Protoss that, okay, there's going to be a bit of tech here coming out. There's going to be a faster starport, which means a faster medevac. Luckily for Stats, he is going for the blink upgrade, which should be able to help him get on top of these medevacs and deal with the aggression.
That's a lot in line with the kind of playstyle Stats likes to have, just rushing a little bit of tech, cutting a lot of corners before establishing a good defense, just by being so incredibly amazing at defending in any given situation. He just decides to play a little bit riskier compared to other Protoss players, just because he feels confident doing that. That's why he's one of my favorite players ever, to be honest. And right here, he's just gonna try to get as much tech as possible. Earlier on, he's probably gonna drop a Robo Bay maybe soon enough. And his blink is gonna be perfectly on time with everything that can come his way.
Man, look at the defensive posture here by Stats. So good. I mean, he is one of the best defensive Protoss players out there. I think he is the best defensive Protoss out there.
Yeah.
And he's showing it why right now.
Alongside Showtime, I'd say he's the best. Showtime has been playing crazy good lately, so
Oh yeah, for sure.
I put him in the list. Alright, here comes the Forge out of stats for the +1 ground weapons, and I'm still not fairly certain why he didn't drop a robo base soon after the facility. But he knows better. On the other hand, BYUN has a Raven up for defense and offense alike, and he's gonna get steamed soon after, trying to get on the aggression inside, but it's a little bit of a run by over here with the Reaper and the Hellion. Gonna get one probe, and that's some good usage for that. These Stalkers are trying to blink into the main, and they surely did so. That's a classic. Goodbye, Steam. You're not gonna finish soon enough. And these Stalkers are still gonna try to put up a fight before heading off. And man, denying Steam is just one of the most beautiful things you can do in this matchup as the Protoss player.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since the Terran has yet to get a dirt CC, which means that, you know, usually when the Terran player delays the dirt CC, he's looking to go for an aggressive attack. But without the stem, can't really do so. So right now, BYUN is like a sitting duck.
Yeah, he's gonna be sending out a few of his own units, but without those upgrades we've been talking about, it's not gonna really cut it. And stats doesn't really need too much. The Robo Bay is on its way. And now with 2 mortals and a bunch of Stalkers, not gonna be too hard to defend.
Yeah, right now he is just throwing down the Stats is throwing down a bunch of gateways, making sure he doesn't die to the bile of BYUN. Even throwing down the thermal lance as well as the Colossus. So he's gonna have some splash damage to deal with what BYUN has, and it's gonna be up to BYUN to kind of maneuver the mobility of the bow. Maybe attack into the main base and then attack the dirt base at the same time, because he needs something to do something right now to kind of crawl himself back to the game. Now he does. It's kind of a little bit misleading here with the even overall supply, but gotta remember, Stats has the tech, the better the better tech, the better army with the Colossus pretty soon. So BYUN's gonna have to attack before the Colossus number gets too crazy.
You pretty much never want to be on the same supply as the Protoss player. If the Protoss player has the same supply as you, you're probably behind, just due to how Protoss units work, and tech as well. And BYUN is certainly not gonna have a beautiful time fighting the main army of the Protoss player. Extended Thermal Lance is still a little bit away, so this could go in his favor. Oh, beautiful interference matrix. And now the main army of BYUN is actually collapsing on top of everything. Widowmines go down unnoticed, but the shots do not go through. Extended Thermal Lance is a little way before being down, but Stats will still be able to shoo away the army of BYUN without taking any significant losses. The Raven goes down for BYUN. That's a beautiful blink forward by Stats. And now BYUN has to turn around and try to fire the army of Stats. Now Extended Thermal Lance is down though. And these Colossi are packing a punch. Even Marauders cannot stand a chance against them. And these Immortals are surely doing their best to keep their count low enough. Stats, he's at the doorstep of BYUN's third. Here the boys being pulled, but they're not gonna be enough. I feel like Extended Thermal Lance just destroying everything. The Immortals will fall down, but it's not gonna be enough. These Zealots are trying to get on top of everything. They do not even have charge yet available. Here he comes off cooldown on top of the Marauders. But the army of BYUN is very thin right now, and so is his economy. Now these Colossi still pretty much unscathed by these fight are gonna put the nail in the coffin. Here another blink forward, getting on top of these Marauders. These Medivacs are running out of energy very fast. Another steam forward. Marauders doing their best. 2 Archons being morphed by Stats. And that's gonna be it. Stats gets game number 1 of the series in a beautiful turn of events.
Yeah, just a really textbook defensive play there by Stats. Not suffering any economic damage in the beginning, especially since BYUN did not open up with a CC first. So he was kind of behind in the economy already to start off with, and that kind of showed that Stats was able to just macro BYUN, go for the counterattack and just outright win. Even if BYUN was able to somehow, some way hold off that attack, I mean, it was at what cost? I mean, he had like 20 SCVs killed already, so yeah, this would have been a really uphill battle.
Yeah, definitely, and really deserved victory in game number 1 for Stats. Just a little bit cleaner with how he plays this matchup, and that kind of showed. BYUN, of course, very aggressive player, very good in shaky scenarios, so still expecting him to show up in these next few games. But let's get into set number 2 of this best of 5. We're in the top right hand corner, where the red Protoss player is currently spawning. Leading the series 1-0. It is Stats.
And spawning here at the bottom left corner of the map is the blue Terran player. Hailing from Korea, it is BYUN. Alright, these players, very, very old school. Go back all the way to the days of at least Heart of the Swarm. I forget if they were prevalent in Wings of Liberty.
BYUN was playing Wings of Liberty. I'm fairly sure about that. I do not feel like he was one of the top players, but he was playing. Stats, I don't think he played back in the days. I think he's a Heart of the Swarm player.
I think he, I think he was playing Brood War at the time.
Yeah, I think so too.
But he definitely made his name for himself. And of course is now, I think for a couple of years now in a row, is considered the best Protoss. Of course, Zest and Trap. And I think earlier on even SOS was kind of knocking at the door as well. Kind of reclaim or take the claim of the best Protoss. But Stats has been very consistent over the years. And yeah,
BlizzCon runner-up in 2018 as well. I think that's his peak in his career, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it is, yeah. Losing to Serral 4-2. Last set on Parasite. Yeah, I do remember a lot of things, guys. It was a huge Skytos versus Vipers, Broodlords, Queens, stuff, Corruptors for Serral. It was a beautiful game.
Wow, that's a lot. Anyhow, we do see a proxy Stargate right here coming out of Stats. Actually going to make a Void Ray, not an Oracle. Interesting.
Very interesting. That's gonna be a very aggressive move from Stats with that Void Ray being produced over there. Of course, the Adept is gonna be keeping track of what is going on. BYUN loves to go for Reactor Rex and start pumping out Marines as soon as possible. He also has a bunker over here, not gonna do much against the Void Ray. Another Void Ray in production for Stats. There's not gonna be shield batteries or anything such as that, it looks like. Just more Adepts being sent in. And Void Rays are not really the best at fighting Marines, as you can see.
Yeah, the Marines just has too much DPS there compared to the Void Ray, and Void Ray doesn't do extra damage to light units, so yeah, these Marines are the best counter, the perfect counter to these Void Rays.
One of the Adepts actually falls, the other survives with 9 health. Meanwhile, the Void Ray is gonna sneak behind the Minor line, get 3 workers. That's the second Void Ray. It's gonna be keeping this Marine count low enough, but the Cyclone is probably gonna cut the deal. Oh, that was close. Not close enough, unluckily, for Stats. And the NGB blocking is naturally still up. Stats decided just to take it third instead. And it's now time for some Phoenixes, it looks like. To lift the Cyclone up and just do some other damage.
Oh man, I really love this engineering blade block. Engineering blade bay block. Oh, that was a tongue twister there. But anyhow,
Oh, that was close. Ah, yeah, okay.
that was one of those quick games. I mean, understandably, Stats was
Yeah.
kind of way behind with that failed proxy void race. So
It doesn't really feel like the right build to play against BYUN. You just don't go proxy Stargate against BYUN and make Void Race because he's gonna be making a ton of Marines, and you know he's gonna make a ton of Marines. So Void Race didn't really cut the deal. And then the Cyclone just kind of closed everything off.
yeah, and it's you know what, I feel like Stats, trying to do something a little cheeky there, but I would say that Stats kind of best a game like where he plays is defensive, macro games, right?
Yeah,
BYUN is the one that I feel like is better in terms of quick, chaotic, aggressive plays.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
All right, so the score is 1-1 there. All right, let's go ahead and introduce our players here on the Lightshade LE.
Bottom right hand corner is where the red Terran is currently spawning, just winning the second set of this series. Can he get 2 in a row and get to match point? It is BYUN.
And here spawning at the top left corner of the map is the blue Protoss. Give it up for Stats. All right.
I'm fairly curious to see what these players are up to on this particular map, since it's such two different playstyles clashing on a map that is very short. Always leads to some fireworks of some sorts.
Yeah, well, to be fair, any game with BYUN has fireworks.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is such an aggressive player, such a micro-oriented player that usually there's a lot of action in his game, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I think Stats, on the other hand, it will be better for him to kind of play more of a, kind of defensive, laid-back game, kind of adapt to his opponent instead of trying to dictate the pace. BYUN is more known for dictating the pace of the game. But what do we have here?
Proxy pylon again, and it looks a good candidate for a Stargate over here. Or maybe Gateway? Nah, it's gonna be a Stargate, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Stargate. I mean, this is a great place. Yeah, great placement for a Stargate.
Yeah, no, it didn't go for the instant warp. Yeah, it's a Stargate. Yeah, it is a great place for a Stargate. It's very close to the main base. And it's just a straight line to the mineral line, so...
You know what?
Every point A to point B, it's a straight line, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish he would have actually hit his probe there and just kind of throws down some shoe batteries in the bottom. I think that would have been really, really good. Because if you can kind of, like we said before, Marines deal with a void race actually pretty well. If you can actually add some shoe batteries to kind of beef them up, then it can actually get a bit harder for the Terran to defend. So I would have loved to see that.
Maybe an Oracle?
Oh.
It feels like the safe choice, the safe bet. So it's more in line with what she said earlier, that you would have liked the Stats to play a little bit more laid back. I feel like the Oracle is just his go-to unit. I feel like it's one of the signature units out of Stats. His Oracles just kind of never die.
Yeah, but look at that. BYUN already prepared for it. Got the turrets up. Got the very quick engineering bay.
And the double... Oh, yeah, that turret. The double Rex opener also leads to a very aggressive early game. It's gonna be 3 adepts on their way for Stats. But these Marines are just gonna go on top of them and just try to get easy kills one after the other. These adepts are kind of falling and it's gonna be 2 of them dead, and 1 of them with just 4 health remaining. Now the Oracle comes to clean up the mess the Adepts made. It's not gonna be enough. Stats very much ahead in workers because his opponent is going all out on Marines. But I do not really feel like he's in a leading position.
Yeah, because right now, these Marines, once them is done, with the +1 upgrade as well, what does stats really have? He lost his adepts in the beginning. He's using a lot of energy on that Oracle. I mean, if he doesn't have anything pretty soon, I mean, I don't see this third holding up at all.
Yeah, these Marines making their way through the map are really gonna shred everything once it comes to steam being made. Alright, Marines are not gonna get the greatest fight against the Devs and Stalkers, but they're still gonna win this just by straight numbers. The strength of the puck. It looks like both players are basically gonna reset their armies. That's not gonna work in favor of Yanda. Lifting Marines, it's a luxury any Protoss player loves to get.
Oh man, I think there might have been a little bit of a mistake there by BYUN attacking before stim was done. Kind of losing his Marines. I mean, he did get some nice kills there. I guess
it was basically a reset, but BYUN is just a slightly too behind in economy to call the reset worth. That's what I'm feeling mostly. Alright, Concussive Shells on its way, +1 infantry armor and combat shields. All the key upgrades that you need for your bio army to be impactful. It was also very unlucky for BYUN to send those Marines through the map and not scout the Stargate proxy. It was very close, but he didn't see that. And now Stats pretty much controls the battlefield.
Yeah, he's the one with the map vision. He's the one with the extra bases as well. So it's kind of a stats game to dictate at this point.
A Robo-Bay being dropped means we're gonna see Colossi being produced sooner rather than later. And Colossi Phoenix, that's a very hard style to play, but it can be so effective. It's a little bit of an old school play style. Oh, BYUN trying to collapse around these Phoenixes and Oracles, trying to trap them into different sides. One of the Phoenixes is gonna find itself exposed, but yet not gonna fall. So what do you think BYUN should do now?
Probably just pull the SCVs, just go for an all straight attack. Although, as I say that, he has the third CC, so maybe not. Looks like he's going to plan out for a macro game, but I mean, with the stats having Colossus tech as well as the Phoenixes, BYUN is going to be quite behind. I mean, the Widow Mines are going to be great for like the Charge Lot and the Phoenixes maybe, but the Colossus is going to be unanswered, right?
Yeah, it's not gonna be an easy time breaking through what Stats has. And right now, Oracles and Phoenix is just stopping all the reinforcements from coming, and it's just a great move. BYUN is gonna collapse over here. There's still no Colossi being up. One is in production. This is gonna be a tough fight for Stats. I think he needs his army back home. Immortals and Stalkers are gonna stay alive for quite a lot of times with Shield Body Overcharge being activated, but the Widow Mines are trying to keep the Zealots at bay. That's a lot of fire army. They went for the old lane you were talking about, and now these Widow Mines are gonna keep the Phoenixes at bay as well. Force speeds are gonna be used to keep the bio army from getting too much damage. There's still no extended promo land. This Colossus is trying to do its best, and it will be able to shoo away the army of BYUN. It looks like the tables are turning. Colossi are just that good. Here comes a bunch of Marauders to stop these from happening, but these are Phoenixes with just a little bit more energy available to drop these, to lift these Marauders, and then get the drop on the Medivacs. Goodbye Medivacs, every last piece of the army of BYUN is collapsing to these Phoenixes. Now Stats, just like game number 1, beautiful defense, even if it was looking way closer than was expecting, and then just went straight up for a chase on the army of BYUN, getting so many important kills. And now this game is stats to lose, really. He's so much ahead.
Yeah, I was biting my nails right there because, I mean, stats didn't have the Colossus quite yet. It was still being researched and produced. BYUN had a 1-1 upgrade compared to the 0-0 upgrade of stats. I mean, that was a really great timing there for BYUN, but unfortunately, the Colossus finally joined up with the team and was able to push back the army, as well as the Phoenix. They came back to help defend as well. So really tight defense there by stats. He does get it, and now he does have the economic control or the advantage right here with the quicker force base and yeah, better army as well. So
yeah, Shockwave EMP is gonna be very important for BYUN with those ghosts being available. Finally finds out the Stargate and kills it, but the army of stats is just that much stronger. There's a bunch of Widow Mines stopping the Protoss player from collapsing on top of this army on the high ground. But in the end, I don't feel like BYUN can really take a beautiful engagement with the stats army being all clumped up.
yeah, he can't really fight the army straight up, especially since the Archons are being added. His best bet is to, you know, kind of go for a multi-prong attack, but he can't even really do that because the Phoenixes are there to greet him if he just attempts to drop into the main base. So yeah, BYUN is looking to be in a kind of a sorry situation. There's really not a lot he can do. He is trying to add in ghosts to help with the deal with the Archons and all, but he's definitely going to need some really great engagements.
It's a lot of vision stats is established throughout the map. He will not be caught with his pants down, and now he will actually get the head jump on the army of his opponent right here. That's a beautiful That's a beautiful EMP. Gonna get on top of all of the zealots. Still not quite enough, it looks like. Oh, there's Colossus. Oh, that's an exposed Colossus. Oh my, double save by stats with the Warp Prism. Here comes the rest of the army. Beautiful EMPs going on all of the army of stats, but his army is way too spread around, and the army of BYUN is way too clamped to fight these Colossi. The Phoenixes are trying to follow these Medivacs into the main, and they surely are dealing a lot of damage to them. Two Medivacs will fall down, losing all of the Marines inside, and now Stats will even warp in his own base and start chasing down these last few Medivacs with the Phoenixes. The rest of the army is collapsing right here, and BYUN is trapped between a rock and the hard place. Goodbye, Medivacs. This is game over for BYUN, most certainly. And Stats is already making his way through the map.
What an incredible fight there for Stats. And now he's enjoying a dominant 190 overall supply to the measly 132 of BYUN.
Yeah, he's definitely in a commanding position, and the Vikings join the fray, but they're definitely too late for them to really be worth the trouble making them. Archons are joining the battle as well. That's four Colossi and 3 Archons. That's an army just too devastating for anyone to fight on top of. And now with the +3 ground weapons, he will surely just destroy the army of BYUN in a split second. Building up that concave stats, he's getting ready to get into the natural. Meanwhile, a bunch of SCVs are gonna be trailed down by these zealots, and the rest of the army on the right side is just gonna destroy one of the last bases of BYUN. 27 workers have fallen down. The last few have retreated in the bottom left-hand corner. But now the main fight begins in the natural. Another huge fight. The Phoenixes are gonna fall, but the Colossi are still unscathed. Finally, Vikings get on top of the Colossi, but it's too late. Stats, it's game number 3, and it's currently at match point.
Stats showing why that Colossus Phoenix combination is so strong. Colossus dealing everything with the ground, Phoenixes dealing with everything in the air. Just a really great combo, and Stats executed that perfectly.
Just a beautiful game from start to finish. Stats really played out of his own strength, of his own best quirks, and he just kind of deleted BYUN fight after fight in a very commanding way.
Yeah, now he's going to be heading into game number 4 with a 2-1 lead in this best of 5 series, which means that if he wins this game, he is going to be able to clinch the series. Now, this is the finals of the OlimoLeague week number 212. So this is for all the fame and glory for the championship. Here we go. All right, spawning here at the bottom left corner of the map is the blue Protoss from Africa Freaks, I believe, right? Is he still? Yeah, I believe he's still in the Africa Freaks. It is stats. Icontisas, you still there?
Snoopy, you might be muted.
Oh. Okay, for a second there, I didn't hear you.
Oh.
All right. Anyhow, I introduced stats, so why don't you go ahead and introduce BYUN?
Oh, what is going on? Why can't I hear you?
You can't hear me? All right. Let me go ahead and pause this. Let's see what is up. Sorry for the short pause here.
All right.
She'll be fine. You can hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I do.
Awesome. All right. Don't know what exactly happened there. Hopefully everything is all right right now.
It just kind of, you were talking and it just kind of locked and I couldn't hear you anymore. And I just went, all right, let me do the introduction. And,
yeah, you went silent. So I was like, okay, maybe I just gonna do the first introductions. But anyhow, I introduced stats in the beginning, so why don't you go ahead and do the introduction for BYUN?
Alrighty. We're in the top right-hand corner, and it's 2 in a row to get this series in his favor. Let's see if he can make it. Let's see if he can bring it to game number 5. It is BYUN.
All right, so we're uploading this to YouTube, so I might do a little bit of a cut. So there's a weird cut in the middle, just know that it was because we had a little bit of a pause there. But anyhow, apologies for that. Hopefully everything is all right, and we're about to begin game number 4, potentially our last game of the series, as stats is match point right now.
Yeah, and he's really been playing a crazy good series. Really been working in his favor. BYUN is this kind of player you can never really count off. But man, stats has been looking really strong right now.
Alright, wait, hold up, did I? Okay, for a second there, I slowed the game down for just a second.
Yeah, I was feeling like, isn't this Reaper shooting a little bit too slowly? What's going on?
Alright, so back to normal speed.
Yeah, technical difficulties are just... You do not have a good stream without some technical difficulties. Oh, Stats Adept is gonna get sniped. That was not great for him.
Marine does survive with 1 life, lives to tell to his kids and grandkids.
You're really overestimating the life expectancy of a Marine.
True, that is true. You make a fair point.
As someone likes to say, it's not about how much your Marines survive, it's about how many can you replace. That's winter, by the way. But anyhow, it looks like BYUN is gonna be playing a little bit more of a... Well, never mind, it's a T-Rex again. But it's gonna be having a Cyclone for defense this time. He probably learned the lesson that the Stargate auto stats can really be posing some troubles for him. He's gonna be having a Cyclone that it worked out very fine for him in game number 2. Now the Phoenix is gonna be making his way into the main, He's gonna find a couple Marines. And probably by now, BYUN should know that more are coming.
Alright.
Yep, he sees one actually. And the Reaper gets lifted. So, yeah. Okay, goodbye, Reaper. The other Phoenix joins the fray and helps eliminating the Reaper. But BYUN is setting up a pretty powerful army very quickly.
Yeah, he's actually setting up a really nice timing attack. He went for the 2 racks, got the fast engineering bay, researching that +1. And that's going to deal pretty nicely, actually, with what stats opened with. The thing with Phoenix is, it's not great because in the early game, because you're not going to have a lot of ground army to back it up. But maybe if he can throw down some shield batteries, then he can possibly hold off. But oh no, BYUN's already arrived at the dirt, and the shield battery just barely going up there. Ooh, that was a close call.
Cyclone gets lifted twice, but both times need to be cancelled because the Marines are just destroying these Phoenixes one after the other. Another lock-on goes on top of one of the Adepts. Here comes another Phoenix. A Guild Force Field is gonna block some of these Marines out of the battle. It looks like in the end this is not really gonna be working in favor of stats, but it's not really that far off. Another lock-on goes on top of one of the Adepts, and more of the Adepts are actually falling. This is going south very fast for stats, and now he's gonna be adding a couple more Stalkers for defense. An Immortal is coming as well, and that should probably put an end to the push for BYUN for the time being until he has tanks and maybe medivacs with this.
Yeah.
Medivac? It's not making medivac. Yeah, it's making.
Yeah, so the most dangerous part of this build is not the first engagement. It's actually the follow-up where he's adding those tanks and got the medivacs and got the stim and the +1. Right now he's actually going to go ahead and lift up some units here and probably,
the main is very exposed. These Phoenixes are way out of position. BYUN is playing a dang good game.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, starts patrolling around with his Phoenixes. Will not find out the danger that these medivacs are posing right now. That's a bunch of Marines steaming left and right. These zealots do not have charge. And even if they had, I do feel like the Marines would have gotten the better end of that trade. BYUN doesn't want to lose the medivacs, so he withdraws his army before the Phoenixes show up, which is a clever move, but now there are 3 tanks. And that's a very strong Terran army.
Yeah, especially on this map where there is that rock at the dirt base where the tanks can kind of siege up behind, and it gets hard for the charge lot to get on top of them.
Yeah, it's getting very much in favor of BYUN. Stats can really do a couple things to be himself in a better position. Also, let's not forget Stats is just an incredible defensive player. One thing I would like him to do right now is just to stop making Phoenixes.
Oh yeah.
I feel like these Phoenixes are not doing enough for him, and I do feel like he needs more firepower on the ground. Like right now for him, not having charge is just incredibly bad. And now these tanks are gonna take 3 shots on top of everything. Zealots do not have charge, not yet. 6 more Zealots are gonna be made, and these are chargeless Zealots. Here comes the main battle. These slow Zealots are making their way past this little choke point, and it's really not going in favor of stats. The tanks are gonna fall, but the rest of the army of BYUN is gonna survive to just break through. More reinforcements are coming, and BYUN will still be having the army advantage, even after losing so much.
Yeah, and BYUN, being the relentless tyrant that he is gonna go ahead and do a kind of a semi-doom drop here. It's not gonna be the entire army, but it's gonna be a hell lot of his infantry army. And right now, Stats has no vision of this. He is sending a Phoenix here to the left side.
Alright, it looks like the rest of the Phoenixes are just now catching up over here on the left side. Game sense is one of the strongest points of Stats gameplay, and he knew something was off. Good move by him, sending the Phoenixes preventively and then getting the scout of the Medivacs. But now it's a little bit of a dance between those Medivacs and the Phoenixes. Looks like, yeah, stats game sense is absurdly good. Just look at his movements without having vision of these Medivacs. He's just an incredible player.
Yeah. He knows, kind of the playstyle of BYUN. He knows that he loves to do drops, and stats is definitely on top of it.
Alright, the Phoenix is trying to chase down these Medivacs and get enough vision of them before they can do anything too crazy. The army advantage of BYUN is just pretty crazy. He's been producing ghosts for quite a while as well, and Shockwave EMP has been started. Now with the upgrades being researched by stats, is not gonna be ahead in upgrades, not anymore. But that's a very, very powerful army for BYUN, of course. I'm not too sure if stats has quite enough, especially with EMP going on top of these Archons. Alright, one EMP goes on top of a bunch of Zealots, not really gonna hit too much. Second EMP is gonna be more important. Oh, if he leaves that ghost alive, that's it.
Oh man, I wish that rock there was already taken down. That would have been so much better, easier for stats to engage. But anyhow, looks like he's gonna go ahead and BYUN's gonna go ahead and dive on in here.
Shield Body Overcharge gets used and gets immediately destroyed. These Archons not doing much. Now the Marauders are just getting on top of everything on the right side. The army of BYUN is splitting too, but his tanks are sieged up very aggressively, just leading every single unit of stats behind. Here comes the surround with the Zealots. Is it going to be enough? The Archons melt after the EMP, and so will the Immortals. BYUN takes a beautiful fight. A bunch of his armies clamped up over there. The last Colossus will fall, and more reinforcements are coming for BYUN. Stats, the best defensive player in the world, has collapsed under the shots of BYUN's Marines.
What a great engagement there for BYUN. Setting up those turrets as well, they actually really helped a lot. Was able to snipe down some Phoenix as well as a Colossus there. Really well done there by BYUN.
Yeah, we're gonna have a game number 5 for this series. And alright. Stats has been playing slightly better. Oh, but BYUN is just this kind of player you can never count off. And now we're going auto-romanticide for the last set of these finals. Let's see who will come out on top.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one. We have ourselves a series.
Alright, we're on romanticide bottoms, right hand corner. And here, the blue Terran is currently spawning. He brought us to game 5. Can he bring himself to victory? It is BYUN.
And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, he's the red Protoss from Africa Freaks. It is Stats.
Looks like whenever BYUN was kind of left unchecked by stats, it really outgrew him in some way. This last game was especially the case. But now we're on romanticide. It's not oxide, it's not short, it's very big and very wide. This map is absolutely gigantic in width, more than anything else. So stats will already start sending off a probe to check for proxies. Wide maps are very good for proxies.
Yeah, especially since it's the last game of the series. Don't want to lose, unfortunately, to a cheese play by BYUN, any proxy play. So just being a little extra safe, kind of making sure there's no shenanigans happen out in the outskirts of his base, and then feeling safe enough to throw down that Nexus.
You're still gonna drop it after the 7-inch score. Safety before everything else. And on the other side, BYUN has his reactor Rex does not have a factory yet. So it's gonna be going into his heavier marine style this game as well. And you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
Yeah, I mean, the last game it worked out really well. He opened up with the 2 barracks there and went for a nice timing attack. Might be able to do it again. Let's see.
it's just very clean with this
Oh.
build. So he decides to do this most than anything. So
All right, looks like
please do tell. Yeah, I think you want to talk about the double command center, right?
yeah, that really early dirt command center. So being a little bit greedy here for this game number 5, and it's gonna be up to Stats to scout this.
I'm expecting the triple Rex. Actually, being this BYUN, probably 2 Rex is fine. Doesn't need a third one. But yeah, Stats is gonna be having quite a tough time scouting this. Really, it's a very big main base, one of the biggest we've ever had here on Romanticide, and the first Phoenix is still quite a few ways off.
All right. So, you know, on a kind of a large map like this, I do like Stats electing to go for that Phoenix. The Phoenixes will allow him to get a lot of map vision, kind of see what's going on. And, you know, on a map like this, where it's actually pretty easy to get that dirt base, I could definitely see Stats being able to establish that same Phoenix Colossus combo army once again, and trying to make that work once more.
Yeah, it's been looking a lot like a replay from game number 3, I think it was. So yeah, I do feel like Stats has been showing greatly with his composition earlier in the series. He kind of crumbled last game though. He was a little bit too slow, or maybe his opponent was a little bit too fast and unchecked. But let's see if things are different this time. Romanticide, as you were saying, bigger map. This kind of build has a higher value. And I do want to see how BYUN wants to react to this.
Right now he is like you said, throw down that 2 additional barracks for a total of 3. Starting to get his factory as well. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a kind of a pretty you know, just standard macro game. BYUN, it looked like BYUN was going to go out, but with a small army marine force like that, yeah, he's not going to go out. He's just going to probably just retreat back home and start establishing that third command center.
Yeah, just keeping a little bit of mud pressure to keep his upgrades safe from any kind of attempt to snipe their team. But of course, it's not gonna be Blink this time. It's gonna be a whole different kind of build. And talking about Blink, Stats doesn't even have a Twilight Council right now, which is kind of risky.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to tech really quickly into Colossus tech. And of course, this Colossus, these Colossus will do well against what BYUN has, because he does have a lot of bow infantry units. So the Colossus, you know, going to deal well with that. And plus, you know, knowing that BYUN went for a greedy build, he knows that there's not going to be a lot of aggression where he needs the Blink tech, he needs the charge tech. He can kind of delay that a little bit. So I don't really mind Stats, you know, kind of delaying that Twilight Cancel. He does finally throw it down, as well as the forge behind it. So he's looking to start getting those additional upgrades.
Alright, things have been played quite slowly right now. Finally, the two players are kind of just trying to trade some stuff. We see a drop being ready by BYUN, starts getting on top of the reinforcements with his phoenixes, getting a lot of damage actually, sniping quite a few units. But here in the top right and in the front of Stats bases, it's not gonna be working out so well in favor of the Protoss player. Here comes the drop into the main. That's gonna be a lot of that probes in a little while. The main army will not try to collapse into the front. Here comes the rest of the army of stats to try and stop this drop from happening. Meanwhile, BYUN will finally get some of his units at the front, but there are 2 Colossi over there. One of the Phoenixes will actually fall in the main fight. 7 Protoss have been falling one after the other. Phoenixes trying to focus fire down the Medivacs, but in the end, BYUN will be killing a lot of important units and a lot of Protoss as well.
Yeah, we're really efficient trade there by BYUN. The focus fire was immaculate. I mean, he was targeting the Phoenixes, and once the Phoenix flew out of range, he just focused fire on the probes. So really well done there by BYUN.
Was an incredible drop by BYUN, just getting so much value with so little investment, and is now in a very commanding position. And a player such as BYUN kind of tries to relentlessly try to whittle you over, right? Just attack after attack. He will just try to get you weaker and weaker and weaker until he can finally defeat you.
Yeah, he kind of wears you down with the his aggression there. And I mean, man, he is... Oh, the Phoenix does catch the Medivac, so there's a nice little catch here.
The Medivacs will survive, and actually... Oh, well, one of the Medivacs will die, but it will kill one of the Phoenixes as well. Stats is already starting to spread out some vision by observers and scouting pylons. It looks like BYUN might have taken quite some significant losses with that, though.
Well, right now, BYUN enjoying a 73 worker lead to the 66 of stats. You never want to be behind in the worker count against a Terran, just because of the meals. That kind of adds into it. So, yeah.
Especially considering the Protoss player can chrono boost probes, so it should almost always be ahead in workers unless you're against a free baser.
What Stats is counting on is that his army will be superior. He is starting to get the Colossus numbers up. He still has those Phoenixes, at least a lot of them, a good decent number.
Yeah.
And now he's adding the Templar archive, so he's kind of slowly building up the army composition that he wants. But BYUN, he is macroing like crazy. He is getting that 4th base. He's getting even the Ghost Academy, adding some additional structures with the second starport, or with the starport, the second starport, to help build up some Viking counts to deal with the Colossus as well as the Vikings, or not the Vikings, the Phoenixes.
Phoenixes, yeah. The upgrades are gonna kick in slightly quicker for stats. That's gonna be very important once the time comes. But for now, BYUN has this really aggressive posture, and stats without those upgrades doesn't really feel confident enough to take any fight. He will still be able to spread his army efficiently and get a 4th base. But BYUN is slowly getting to maxed out. I'm expecting him to start researching Shockwave EMP very soon. And once that upgrade is done, those ghosts are gonna be so strong in every single fight.
Oh wow, Stats actually setting up a nice little sandwich here, trying to get the wraparound on BYUN, but BYUN quickly retreating back at home. Will not fall for that.
He will try to blindside his opponent by sending another half of his contingent on the other side, but he will decide against doing so, with the Stats army being right about to collapse on him again. And what is going to happen right now? Both players maxed out a very powerful army with very good upgrades, especially Stats. Shockwave EMP is still not being researched by BYUN against big armies. That's a little bit bad, to be honest. But he's gonna destroy these rocks and trying to get on top of the army of the Protoss player. Both armies kind of posturing around each other, kind of dancing around each other. But Stats definitely looking like the player with the strongest army right now.
Yeah, some important upgrades just finished for both players. Blink just finished for the Protoss, while +2/2 has just finished for BYUN as well. So going to be a slight upgrade lead here for the blue Terran. But there is still a lot of Colossus here, some Archons as well, and as well as the Phoenixes.
Last free is still halfway through for stats, so that upgrade won't last that long. It means that BYUN needs to make its the best out of it right now. And of course, Protoss upgrades scale way better into late game than Terran upgrades, just due to how big they hit, and due to most of the units hitting 2 times, such as Phoenixes, Colossi, and Zealots. So once a +3 upgrade kicks in, that's probably going to be the best possible spot stats can be in. And with a fusion core coming for BYUN, and probably, I'd say probably Liberators, this is not gonna be an easy time for stats after that point comes. That's why he wants to do something right now. He's gonna send a bunch of Zealots right at the third base of BYUN. The rest of the army is ready to collapse on top of the Vikings. That's a lot of damage actually being dealt by stats. A lot of the worker supply has been destroyed by stats. 18 workers have been killed. And he's still ready to shock around for some more damage. Finally, Shockwave EMP is almost done. But stats still pretty much in a good spot. And with +3 being researched, I'd almost call it a commanding spot.
Yeah, but BYUN has been macroing like a madman throughout this whole game. So even though he lost 21 SCVs, he's still not super far behind. I mean, you got 55 workers plus the mules. You know, that's pretty even. And now he's going to actually go ahead and attack this 12 o'clock base, takes it out. And that's going to reset stance base down to 4. So, or I guess right now he's getting the 5th as well, about to finish.
You still need some supply for those Dark Templars. I do not really see a way the Dark Templars can really do too much. You know, Dark Templars are just overall a great addition to any late game Protoss army. The Doom Drop from BYUN is sadly gonna be pretty much wasted by these Phoenixes. Marines are gonna try to get on top of everything, but both Dark Templars and Zealots are gonna be warped in and destroy the last remnants of that drop. Of course, BYUN needs to trade supply, but look at just the bank that stats has been building up this spot. 3k against 1k of minerals, and then 2.5k of gas. That's a crazy amount.
Yeah, I would love to see him start, you know, throwing down some additional tech buildings or production buildings. Oh, he looks like he is. He's throwing down 2 additional robotics facility there. He's going to go crazy on the disruptor production. And that's going to be really, really good for him because that will allow him for 3 splash damage units. You got the Colossus, you got the Archons, and then if you add in those disruptors, it's get really, really hard for BYUN to engage the army straight up.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if I like disruptors more than actual storm, just because Liberators should be a thing this late in the game, and stats should know that. But we will see if you will prove me wrong. Meanwhile, this planetary fortress is suffering some severe damage, but the SCVs will soon repair it. And now the Warp Prism is in real danger. Here comes a blink on the left side from stats. It's a big fight happening. So many EMPs going left and right, and these Liberators are getting a lot of damage on top of the army of stats, which is just gonna melt. That was a beautiful engagement by BYUN. The last vehicle outside are gonna fall, and it's just Zealots right now. It looks like BYUN will not try to end the game just right now. He doesn't feel confident enough against a huge warping of units, but that was definitely a significant victory for him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Picking up all those high value units like the Colossus, that is a huge pickoff. And now look at the army of stats. Basically gateway units, a bunch of charge lot and stalkers. That's not really what you want. He does have a few disruptors, but not quite nearly enough that he wants to have at this stage. And this is going to be a tough battle here, especially with the Liberators parked outside and sieged up in the back.
If there is one player who can do this, that player is Stats. He's trying to set up a concave as best as he can, but these Liberators are making it so difficult for him to set up a defensive perimeter. Meanwhile, BYUN producing so much more than his opponent at any present time. 5 more dot temples are gonna be issued. The stats bank has pretty much disappeared. That's a huge EMP going on top of all the army of stats. And you can see right here just how strong that upgrade is for the Ghost. Getting Shockwave on that EMP makes that EMP so much a wider area. And it becomes such a big threat to the Protoss player. Stats trying to wrap around these few stragglers at the 12 o'clock. And as you can see, BYUN cannot really spread his army too far from his liberators, because these Stalkers will just get the jump on it.
Wow, we have a couple of engagement here in the map. We have a counterattack here by BYUN, but also Stats also doing a counterattack. A lot of action going on. Let's see who gets the better end of this trade.
It's a full-on base trade, but on one side we are Liberators, on the other we do not. Liberators just really proving themselves to be quite too much of a nuisance. BYUN not really gonna win his fight back home. He's gonna of course lose it. There's a very big number of disruptors, too many for him to actually handle. But the Stalkers count is actually getting lower and lower, and BYUN is ready to send the rest of the army back home. Stats is in a pretty good spot to fight. These Disruptors really need to do so much though, and the Liberators have very red and yellow health bars. Here goes the Liberators. It's now time for the Disruptors to shine. That's a beautiful shot. The second shot also eats some stuff. And Stats is ready to recall with a huge advantage all of a sudden. 59 workers to 15.
Yeah, that was a really nice pick off there. Getting some additional SCVs. There's a one Zealot just hacking away still. Finally gets cleaned up. And now, what can BYUN do?
Oh man, I really do not know. He lost all of his key units. He has just a couple Vikings, a couple Marauders. He has just one, actually 2 goals up. And these Disruptors are gonna be making every single engagement impossibly hard to take. Another good EMP is gonna get on top of these Disruptors, but more workers have died for BYUN, getting to a total of 10. His economy is in shambles right now, as you can see in the income on the bottom part of your screen. Stats almost, I'd say, quadrupling the income of his opponent right now. And these Disruptors are only gonna make it harder and harder by the minute. Stats ready to put the nail in the coffin. Will he be able to do it right here, right now? The Vikings will land on the left-hand side of the map, getting 11 probes down. But it's still a 38 workers advantage. Disruptors just dropping Nova after Nova after Nova. And BYUN tops out. Stats is gonna be the winner of this series, but man, that was close.